Shut that over. It's showtime. Hail, hail. Hard trick is in the house. Paul Emery's in the house. If you are on the live, make sure that you comment to see who's all on. How many people are on? There are about 16 people. What is on that size? Let me just go back to default. Default, let's do this. Good evening. Good evening and welcome back to the channel. 21 now watching. Who is all on? Why is my screen doing this? 2 seconds till I get the screen going. Has it? What is going on this evening? Hail, hail, Baz. Hail, hail, evening, guys. Jeffrey's in the house. Patrick Toner's in the house. Sean's in the house. Dr. Day's in the house. Paul Emery's in the house. 6171 Tara. Still giggling at the results. It helps if I bring the microphone over, eh? Right, there we go. Is that a bit better? You could probably hear me a bit better now. That was a bit of a rush start. I was running a bit late, grabbing some food. Evening trips, happy Sunday, watching the Zombies meltdown. Right. We'll get on to Lazio in a minute, but we really need to talk about the league, obviously, because let's face it, it's been quite fun watching the Boo Boys for the last day or so. Let me just double check this. That it is. Why am I not going live on this? Yeah, there we go. Any player, back down to size. My screen is all over the place. Default view. There we go. That's better. I can see everything now. Beautiful. The league is done. Is the league done? -7 in Govan. Hail from Dunfermline. I stayed in Dunfermline once for about 2 or 3 years. David, how's Dunfermline today? Even Baz, Matt, there's quite a lot. There's 80 people online now. Right, brilliant. Let's see what Celtic news is kicking about. Obviously, fantastic result yesterday on the morning after O'Reilly signs a new contract. Big Chris Sutton suggests that Celtic will have to start thinking about replacing a goalkeeper. Joe Hart's obviously been in great form over the last couple of seasons. He's made some absolutely crucial saves and helped keep their status at the top of the league over the last couple of seasons, says Chris Sutton. The former Celtic hero has voiced his issues. He's voiced issues around the club not signing a goalkeeper. Sutton says when you look at, by no means he's not slating the current goalkeeper. In fact, he's one of the pundits that have sort of been complimentary about Hart over the last couple of seasons. But he has said Celtic and Brendan Rodgers need to be realistic. They need to address the situation sooner rather than later. The experience and ability of someone like Hart has been invaluable to Celtic over the last two seasons. Going into this one, in the long term, the position will need to be addressed. He's not getting any younger. We all know that Hart won't be here next season. I don't think it's something that Rodgers will be losing sleep over right now. But will Celtic bring in a keeper in the winter window? Celtic fans knew last summer that we needed a goalkeeper. It's a bit. See, the thing is we have Benji Siegrist there. Until we know the full what's going on with Benji Siegrist, Hart's still going to be the number one keeper. Should Hart come back in for the Lazio game? That's the question. Tell me in the comments, should Joe Hart come back in for the Champions League game on Wednesday evening? I think yes. Matt, you and Boy, let's get to some of the comments before we talk about Joe Hart and Lazio again. Right. We should just raise the flag now and end their nightmare. Chill Pill says, evening everyone, hail from Tipperary. 7 points clear, 7 goals clear, 7 games played, 7 fantastic weekends. Yep, the Hun meltdown is beautiful. I'm going to talk about them in a minute because Kenny Miller's been talking about the whole situation. And I know it's a Celtic channel, but it's Sunday night. We kind of Sunday night, we go with the flow. Hugh says, just finished converting a camper van, coming to Spain, enjoy a beer with me. Excellent. You'll have. I'll tell you one thing. See, if you're coming over the Pyrenees from France, from Bordeaux, watch the van, because when you get to a certain height, when I came over with the van, the van doesn't get enough oxygen, so you think the van's going to break down. It's absolutely hilarious. Not. Is Joe not suspended? No, because that wasn't the Champions League that he got the red card in. 100% yes, says Ewan Boy. Hart is still our best keeper. Of course, Hart's back. Best option. 100% yes. Spent my Sunday lapping up the meltdown. Tip, Kenny Miller talks about his Sevco Tannoy. He does that. Did you see Brendan running the pitch celebrating? The man has still the same passion in him. Yep, I did see that. Clyde Fonan was a thing of beauty yesterday. Lol, says Ewan Boy. I could just imagine that. Right, we're going to talk. I'm going to talk about them just for a minute. I know it is a Celtic channel and that, but we need to sort of address the elephant in the room, which is the sort of the Sevco. And is it a good thing that they're? Look, I can remember going back to when they first came back into the league, and there was, when I was running the Joseph Rafferty CSC bus at the time, there was a lot of people said, look, we need a strong Rangers in the league. And I said at the time, they will not come back. Whatever your images are of a strong Rangers, they will not come back like they were in the 90s and the early 2000s. They'll never be that strong again. They'll never be able to financially dupe the market to make sure that they get the players and cheat the system the way they did. They'll never be as strong as what they were. You've got to remember that Sevco back in the 1980s, their average home crowd was around about between 6,000 and 8,000. So this thing that they're this big, massive club was all around the fact that when One Leg Peg came in and bought the club for 6 million of borrowed cash, it wasn't even his own 6 million that he bought Sevco with. They basically cheated their way for years, and they always said, if Celtic spend a fiver, we'll spend a tenner. And look what happened. They died and went bust. As I was saying, back then, people were saying we need a strong Sevco back in the league, and they're never going to be that strong again because they don't have the money. They went out and spent some crazy amount of money, and now they're on the verge of sacking another manager. Kenny Miller's been talking about it, and Kenny Miller doesn't think the time is quite right to sack Michael Beale. Kenny Miller, the Tim has shone through. Talking about it, he says, despite the league season being just 7 games old, Kenny Miller says Rangers must win Paisley next week. And it's a long way back, even at this stage, he told Super Scoreboard. No, it wasn't. It was Sports Sound. Kenny Miller then said, but I don't think his time's up at the moment. There's a lot of work to be done, a lot of fans that need to be turned. There's the questions that need to be answered, and the job and the board need to analyse it without emotion. Make a calm and sensible decision for the right future of the club. The meltdown from that comment is just unbelievable. It's so funny. King Kenny has finally shown his true colours. And it's brilliant. It's absolutely brilliant. Anyway, let's get on to some of the comments before we start talking about the Lazio game. Because let's face it, Snake Pig had an extra overdraft. He did that. Did I get him Murray Mintz? Yep. Will Beale be fired? No, not just yet. I think it'll be October. I think if they're going to make a change of manager, it will be during the October break. If not, they'll drag it out till Christmas. You know what they're like. They'll drag it out to Christmas until it's. You've got to remember, he's on a 5-year contract. He's only a year into a 5-year contract. And for them to then pay off that 5-year contract, it's going to be a hell of a lot of money. And then they've got to bring someone in. They'll bring in Derek McInnes. There's been a lot of talk around that. They'll bring in Derek McInnes. But will Derek McInnes want to leave Kilmarnock? You've got to remember that Derek McInnes didn't want to leave Aberdeen to go to Rangers back then. And it was probably an easier job to go to Rangers back then. Although at the time Celtic went on to absolutely dominate, and Celtic have dominated for years. So let's get to some of the comments. I love the ending. Had an Les. Who are the two that were sent off against Feyenoord again? Two that were sent off against Feyenoord. Well, they're definitely going to play. So I'm not going to talk about the team just yet. I'm going to talk about what our expectations should be for the Feyenoord. It was Gustav and home. which means that's the whole reason that Phillips was brought in at the weekend, to make sure that getting him game time, because he's obviously going to play. Can you imagine sacking the manager that gets you a European final? Yeah, they did that. You have to. Could you imagine Celtic sacking Martin O'Neill the year after he got us to Seville? Celtic fans to this day would still not have went back to the club. That's the difference between us and them, I think. That's a good comment, you and boy. Radio Scotland, yeah. The Rangers can afford all these contract wages after sacking them. They can't. Personally, I don't want to see Sevco anywhere near Scottish football. Their socks exact. Paul, if you knew me on Twitter back then, or anything, even any kind of social media, I didn't want them back at all. I thought, as an entity, it should have been ended. It should never been allowed to start back up as the Rangers. When a company goes bust and goes into liquidation, it generally changes its name. It changes its name, and it can come back. You see it happening all the time in businesses. A business will go into liquidation, they'll shut it down, and then the very next day they'll start up a brand new limited company with a brand new name. The fact that they got to continue the name and buy the titles is an absolute disgrace, and something that has never been addressed. But that's the SPFL and SFA for you. Right, let's jump through some of the comments. I bet they're on the hunt for a new manager. They probably are. And like I said, I think Derek McInnes has been at bat. This is October. As you know, the Hunter sites get noised up last night, and won't be gone, a lot of them. Yeah, it'll be the break, the international break, the Armed Forces Day, aye. That and all. And what? No, don't even get me started about the friggin' poppy, because I've seen folk wearing poppies already, and it's only 1st of October. Don't even get me started with that nonsense. Glad I stay in a country where that doesn't recognise any of that shit. Anyway, good evening from Gibraltar. Bring back Gio. All is forgiven. Want to the utter meltdown over on Clyde. I hope they're not on tonight. I could see the floating. I can see a casino on a floating pitch. Yep. If you actually want to see a floating pitch, you want to look at this is totally off topic, but the plans that Real Madrid are rebuilding the stadium, as are Barcelona. Barcelona completely knocked the Camp Nou, they knocked it down to the ground, and they're building it from the ground up. Real Madrid, their pitch is going to be come away, and it's going to be able to go in sections and then go underground, and they're going to have lights underground that can grow the grass when they have concerts up above. It's a phenomenal amount of money they must be spending on it. And who said there's no money in Spain? There's no money in Spanish football. Anyway, you want a recent manager? Come on, the Rangers. Right. Lazio, they have got a bit of problems with their team. They've got a couple of players out injured. And they're basically saying that they might be struggling for the Champions League, but I don't believe that. We need to you play who you're playing against, and it's like what Brendan Rodgers said. What happened to Kieran Tierney to his hamstring? I think he did. I've not watched the game back. I missed the game yesterday, but it looks like he might be. I'm not sure if it's hamstring. I'm going to look at the spot. It's usually Sunday night that I check up on the Spanish football, because they usually have a lot of games on Sunday night. But they also have games on the Saturday evening. But I'll have a check of Spanish news tomorrow, because the Spanish press will come out and tell you what happened with them. Just like Barrowfield. Yeah, just like Barrowfield. He'll all the Celtic fans, says Tony. Right. Talking about the Lazio game. After the game yesterday, the Celtic manager said, look, we're meant to be struggling just now. We're meant to have a bit of a crisis, a bit of a player crisis. And the fact that we've managed that win and that performance yesterday, it's just one. It's one of these days that somebody said it in the pub yesterday. This could be our Tony Ralston extra time goal up in Ross County moment. But it's early it's only October. It is only October. It would take an absolutely monumental turnaround in Celtic's form, and there's no way we're going to get any worse this season. If anything, we're going to get better. We're going to get better as the season goes on, and especially with the players come back in the next 3 or 4 weeks, we're just going to get stronger. Can they get stronger? They've obviously got players that are injured, but when it comes down to the league, I think And the league's only going to go one place this season, and it is at Celtic. Right, let me just close that window down. That window. Chris Sutton. Spoke about Joe Hart and Chris Sutton. Close that down. Let me just see. Where's that? Where is it? Let's talk about Celtic again rather than the game just during the week, because Celtic could be soon untouchable in the SPFL. Let's face it, they could Brendan Rodgers, although Brendan Rodgers the first time round went on a nice little run, and we obviously had the Invincibles season, Untouchables, basically won everything and nobody could beat us. Could Brendan Rodgers, even though with the difficulties of our defence, you got to remember, nice collection of Celtic tops behind you, that's only about 3/4 of them. The furniture still hasn't arrived. See in this is totally it's a Sunday. It's a Sunday, right? See in Spain. In Spain on a Sunday, it's like turning the clock back to 1985. Everything shuts. Supermarkets close. Everything closes. Absolutely everything. There's nobody works on a Sunday in Spain at all, anywhere. And trying to get anything done on a Sunday is absolutely hilarious. So I've put some of the shirts out. That's why they're there, and hopefully we'll get the furniture will arrive this week. If not, anyway, let's get some of the comments. Bugsy, why? Doing a great job. Let's talk about the Homes getting absolutely pumped. Yeah, why not? It's Sunday. We can talk about. We'll do a live tomorrow night, Monday Night Live. Monday Night Live will be at 6:30 tomorrow. Purely for the fact I'm going to change the time slightly because the views went down a little bit. So I'm going to put it on once everyone's had their dinner and stuff, their tea. Right. Let's talk about Sevco and how funny it is. I love a Sunday and I love a Sunday in Southern Europe, Peter. It was 32 degrees here today. 32 degrees. Baz, I'm over here next week. Paddy's Point for the Spain-Scotland game. Ewan boy, do you know what? I don't usually go down to Paddy's Point for the Scotland game, but I'll head down there. What day is it? Remind me during the week. But I'll head down to Paddy's Point for the Scotland game just for the shits and gizzles. Spain's a good Catholic country. It is that. And they take, like, I was brought up Catholic back home in Scotland. And I see when you move to a Catholic country that celebrates absolutely everything. I mean, there's basically a mass on every night in the churches around here. Especially in the town down the road, the two churches, there's almost a mass on every night. It's unbelievable. And when you move you actually feel cheated being brought up Catholic in Scotland because we don't celebrate anything, absolutely anything compared to what they do in Europe and especially in Spain. Anyway, let's move on from that. Let's talk about Sunday. Definitely not a Hyundai. Yeah, you'll have had your tea. Robert couldn't hide his smile. Robert couldn't hide his smile. Let me just cut that. Helen says the Lazio score against Milan was 2-0. Is that to Lazio or AC Milan? But Ewan boy, remind me during the week on the lives that you're over, and I'll head down to Paddy's Point. I'll not be able to drink because I'll be driving, unfortunately. Morelos, player in the manager position for a player. He's in South America now. South America, right. Let's get how many thumbs up are on. There's only 31 thumbs up. And there are, it's saying there's only 147 watching. It's saying 239. What's going on with this? Need to update this. 2 seconds. Let's check. Click that, and that shouldn't affect anything. There we go. Right on. Right, there's 239 watching. Make sure you hit the thumbs up. There's only 44 thumbs up. Pause that. Let's get back to the dogs barking. Anyway, Brendan Rodgers could be that far ahead the rest of the SPFL that he could become untouchable. The restructuring of the Champions League means that getting into the group stages could guarantee Celtic 60 million next summer before a ball is kicked. Now, remember, last year Celtic's revenue went up to over 100 million. The fact that if we win the league, we go straight into the Champions League. Before a ball was kicked, we get 60 million. Celtic will automatically qualify for next season, and that could, if they win the league, we'll say if. Where Celtic are right now, it said, this says, when you look at that, the revenue over the last couple of years, this could be like winning. Celtic could be winning the league until for the next 9 years. Unless the whole structure changes, they'll be out on their own the next couple of years, untouchable by Rangers, unless Rangers can get an investment from somewhere that allows them to wrestle the title away from Celtic. With Celtic's financial health being consistent over the last 20 years, extra revenue from the Champions League has helped them invest in the playing squad. With record profits announced last week, it's very daunting for the rest of Scottish football, this says, should Celtic continue to qualify for the Premier competition year in, year out. Celtic fans will not care a jot. They're just delighted to continue to dominate Scottish football. Do you know what, right? See, back in the 1990s, nobody was complaining about the fact that Rangers were dominating Scottish football and winning the league every year. Nobody was complaining about it. Nobody whatsoever. But because it's Celtic, people are now, we can't have Celtic winning the league every year. We have to do something about it. Do one. Anyway, imagine the Arabs buying the Huns. No Arabs are going to buy the zombies. I'm going to stay in train station. Oh dear. It says 92 thumbs up now. Perfect. Will Lawwell let Brendan buy? Where did that go? Decent players with that 60 million. Celtic next summer have to get the transfer policy right. We do not need an overhaul of the squad next summer. If anyone's going to come in for any other players next summer, they're going to have to pay top money. We've got a nucleus of squad, and look back at the last time that Brendan came into Celtic. He did the exact same. He got all the important players and he put them on bigger contracts. And the reason that he done that is basically to make sure that you secure the team going forward. And by doing that, it allows you to build. And you know that there's going to be players. There will be the odd player that will come in and come for a couple of seasons and go on. Right? Can't have them Catholics winning things exactly, Tarmac. It's absolute. The big Christmas tree. Yeah. What was I talking about? See, we're losing it again. Sundays I was a laugh. Lanky Brendan. We're talking about the boards. Yes, the boards. We'll only need to really bring in, if we don't bring in a goalkeeper at Christmas, and it's a difficult time to try and bring in a goalkeeper, you want to try and bring in a goalkeeper that does have first team experience. He has to have had first team experience. We can't bring in a keeper that's been sitting on the bench. Look what Phillips. He's not up to speed. Phillips has came in. He's not played a game since January. We cannot bring in a goalkeeper like that. We have to bring in a top level goalkeeper. But saying that, we brought in a goalkeeper before for $4.5 million, and look what happened to that. He had an absolute nightmare of a time at Celtic. So where do we go? Hopefully we'll get to bring in another striker. I think we need another top quality striker. I think January would be a good time to bring in a striker, because then it allows him to get up to speed for the Champions League for next season. We need to be thinking ahead the next window. We need to be thinking ahead, get the players that we really want in the January, so that they've got that settling in period over the next couple of months from January to the end of the season, to see how the team works, to see the togetherness into the team. And then in the summer, it's all we need tactical signings. We have a strong nucleus, says Jeffrey. Exactly. We need to. I'm feeling good about the Lazio game, says Craig. Close that down. I'm feeling good about the Lazio game. We're starting to find our form now. I said that a couple of weeks ago. I said just we're playing with a team that, let's face it, you were minus Jota, you were minus Carl Starfelt, you were minus Aaron Moy. Jota, Carl Starfelt, CCV, Aaron Moy, 4 players that were first team players. We did not expect to lose 4 first team players this summer. Right? We didn't expect to lose that. We maybe expected to lose one, Rio Hitasi. We all thought we were going to lose Rio Hitasi, and we all thought last season we thought we were going to lose a winger. Now that winger is now out injured, but we thought he was going to go out on. They thought he was going to go out and get sold. When you look at the players that we've brought in and how quick we've brought them in, Rodgers wants the Liverpool goalkeeper and that Danish striker for January. Will we go for that keeper from Liverpool? Will Celtic pay that kind? It all depends. Liverpool have come out and said that they don't want to sell him. So if it's all going to come down to whether Brendan can talk Liverpool into it, Brendan's still got a good connection with Liverpool, but will he get the Brøndby striker? Will he go for that? Will he go back for that Brøndby striker? How's his form been? Because let's face it, he had a good season last season. We never wanted to spend the money. Celtic didn't want to spend. The Celtic should have just spent the $6 million going in, and this is the Lawwell effect. This is the Lawwell effect. Going in and offering $4 million, and then offering 4.1, and then offering 4.3, and then saying that's us. Come on, I was at 4.6 million, and then saying that was us. When if we just went in and said, look, we want the striker, he's worth 6 million, buy him at the 6 million. We've bought players at 6 million before that went on to be absolutely fantastic for us. Offer them 7 million for the Liverpool guy. Says Lanky. Take that. Do you think they'll take that for him? No number twos. They're number 2 for a reason. It says Hetty. Rodgers' son is coming in January. And Francis says, is that a new one on me, Mr. B? James says, I wouldn't say that we're finding our form. Final passing in the third, especially, been very poor. James, you can say that, right? And Brendan can say that as well. But when you've got a team that are that well organized, yes, our passing was woeful. Yang was terrible yesterday by the Warsaw keeper for 5 million. Yang was terrible. He couldn't. People were ganging up on Yang yesterday. They were doubling up on Yang. And Yang didn't know how to play against that. Yang was just, he was in no man's land sometime, and he couldn't. For me, Yang couldn't take on a player if he tried yesterday. That's how he was taken off at half time. Forrester was number 2 before he came for us. His Tamar. He was a lot younger as well. Hetty. Let me see what one was saying. Number 2s are number 2s for a reason. Yeah, I mean, Lanky's number 2. Keller's number 2 at Liverpool. So, I don't know. There has to be a goalkeeper out there. Keller's got 18 months left on his contract. That could play into Celtic's hands. Maybe that's why Celtic are just biding their time, because they know when he's got 18 months left on his contract just now, when it comes to next summer, I mean, they can go in with a cheeky offer to Liverpool and say, look, we want to take him just now at Christmas time. It would be fantastic if we do. But let's wait and see. Bill the Builder sang the Hunt choir. Ironically, he's number 2. Yep. Is that you're right, Baz? Palmer meant that it was a cross. Did he come out and say he meant it as a cross? It looked like it was a cross, because it looked like it was to drop right on the 6-yard box, right in the 6-yard box for somebody to get it, and basically nobody got it, and the keeper was left stranded. I'll take it all day long. I'll take goals like that all day long. We tried to walk the ball into the net yesterday instead from shooting outside the box. Big Dom, it's hard to shoot from outside the box when you've got basically a bank of 4, a bank of 5, and then a bank of 4 between the 18-yard box and the sort of the half moon on the edge of the box. It's difficult to try and shoot for there. There was hardly any space. They were really well drilled, in their defensive duties, and they did well. They did well yesterday, but they didn't do well enough. Should have Celtic should be able to, play against that type of football. They've been used to it for the last couple of years. So I think I understand why Brendan says it. The passing in the last third could have been a bit better. It just shows that we're missing Jota, because Jota could cross on a ball, and we're also missing the player that's out injured, that could actually get past players. And it shows the players that we're bringing in, Yang, for me, isn't good enough. We must have someone on our eye, says Chilwell. Yes, we must do. And it'll be interesting. And the good thing about Celtic just now is there's no leaks whatever coming out about players or anything. Hatate was poor. Yep. A run on the winner from Turnbull, takes on two players, positions, makes space for Taylor. Yep. Martin, you don't need to tell that to me, because I've been saying that since the start of the season. Rio Hatate was left out at the start of the season because his form was absolutely rank rotten, right? Turnbull, his form was fantastic at the start of the season. Pre-season, Turnbull was on fire. So that's why Brendan Rodgers gave him the nod the first game of the season, first couple of games of the season. And he scored 2 or 3 goals, Turnbull, so far. And Hatate showed, I thought Hatate would have got a spark after signing that new contract, but some of his passing in that yesterday he's not up to form just yet. Right, let's get some more. Honestly, be surprised if his Beale ain't going Wednesday. Nah, he won't be. Aberdeen Football Club. I got Aberdeen. So I got a team spot on yesterday. Not bad, if I say so. The Huns were laughing at Motherwell when they scored. Hun tears are tasty. Rangers keeper isn't bad. Get him. He'll win something. That's it. Lewis took a shot, Baz, and it worked. It did, exactly. I will take that all day long. Stuart Ramsey, it was a smelly win yesterday, but I'll take it all day long. Yeah, sometimes you need to dig that out. And sometimes a win like yesterday is the starting point of a season where you build up that momentum to go on a run. And we've seen it happen before, and it usually happens around about December. It usually happens for Celtic in December, but it just seems to, for me, I think that could be the game yesterday that will click Celtic on, and the motivation, the excitement and joy in the players. I mean, you've seen Callum McGregor running into the fans when Matt O'Reilly scores. Callum McGregor's usually the calmest man on the pitch at things like that, because he's been there and done it. But he knew how important that game was, how important O'Reilly's goal was. And I tell you one thing, for him to go running into the fans like that was something else. Brendan will have watched so much football, he will have his targets. Yep. And you've got to remember, Brendan's got a lot of connections in and around Europe. I'd also like us to sign Aaron Ramsey just for the crack. Oh, no. Right, Big John, he says Duncan Ferguson will be the next touted for the Zop. Not a chance. He would never go back there if he starts winning at Inverness. 6171 says, we really have to face up to reality. We beat Motherwell in the last minute. We need to compete more in Europe. Right, see the way that Motherwell played and the way that Lazio play on Wednesday night be completely different. Motherwell sat back and defended really well, and Celtic had to come on for that. Lazio are going to come out and try and win the game from the start. They're not going to wait until the 75th minute to try and hit us on the break and win the game. Lazio are going to try and attack us and try and shut the fans up. You quiet the fans, you quiet the players, is the old saying. And that's one thing that Celtic fans on Wednesday need to really get up for it. And let me just double check something. Absolutely wants to remember. That's, where are we? The 4. Yeah. Celtic fans on Wednesday I need to get right up and make as much noise as possible. Bugger off, Mum. Chubble, if we got Jota back, you know that Jota's been taken off the bio of the club altogether. So Jota is now in complete no man's land. It's one of the strangest decisions that any player that has been involved in Celtic could have made. You can understand why he went back. He went there for the money, but to then get dropped out the team completely and then taken off anything to do with the club. Now, if it does come out that it's all down to his sexuality, it's absolutely disgusting, and everyone should boycott anything to do with that country whatsoever when it comes to football. Anyway, Turnbull must start midweek, Baz, says Jimmy. I think Turnbull start again against Lazio. That's an interesting one, rather than Hatate, and then bring Hatate on as an impact player, because let's face it, his form isn't there, and maybe that's the kind of little kick up the bum that he needs. You know, maybe that's the kick up the jacksie that he needs, is to find himself on the bench. Hatate doesn't fit into Brendan's team. Yes, he does. Yes, he does. It was too late for the rest of the fans, mate. If you've seen the highlights of Palmer scoring goal, it's basically the same as yesterday. Edge of the box, fire on the far right, far corner. Yeah, I watched the Celtic unique angle, and it was a bit like the Greg Taylor cross, wasn't it? It was a bit like the Greg Taylor cross, although he does try to land it right on. And maybe that's something that they've been trying to do in training, you know, is get the ball out wide and then get it to land right on that 6-yard box, right in the middle of it. And he was pretty lucky that it bounced and went right past the keeper, and there was nobody that hit it in. Hey Baz, says Danny. Hetty says, stuck a turner on Celtic winning 1-0 in the 83rd minute. Well, I put my scoreline as 2-0. There was lots of people said 2-1 or 3-1. I didn't see where the 3 goals were coming from. I said 2-0, and I said that Celtic would score the first goal in the 35th minute, and I said they would score the second goal in the 67th minute. I'm not even going to try and predict scoreline for Wednesday, not at all. Yang needs time to settle into the country, culture, and get used to it, says Graham Hardy. Yang's first touch and control was terrible. Keeps hitting it far too in front of. You know, he's probably used to hitting it in front of him like that in his home country when you've got a bit of space. You can play like that down in England where you've got a bit of space past players, but he did have 2 players manning up to him most of the first half. Tarmac says the Celtic team has yet to wake up. We're going to hurt teams. Yes, we're going. But Celtic have always got, every season, for as far back as I can remember, we've always got a 6-0 or 7-0 scoreline in us. Aberdeen. Was it Aberdeen that we beat one time 9-0? I can't remember. And there's always about December time that we've got that kind of scoreline in us. Mark Boy says, evening, mate. Evening to you, Mark. Tarmac says, when we do once grinding out results, still a win, says Burants. Grinding out results for me at this stage of the season, and like Brendan Rodgers said, with his cheeky little grin, he says, and seemingly we're going through a bad patch. You know, it's a win like that, and seemingly we're going through a bad patch. Brendan knows that when we get everyone back 100% fit, he knows that he's going to build a team again that's going to absolutely crush teams. And expect some big scorelines from January to the end of March. Expect some big scorelines. I'm going to say that you could go in every week and put a bet on Celtic winning 3 or 4-0 come that time of the season. I might be wrong, but I think it's just a feeling I've got. Having went to games all through the Brendan's era the first time rounds, and speaking to my mates that are at the games yesterday, they've got that feeling again. And it was funny because when all the fans went onto the pitch yesterday, it was almost 10 years. Well, if it had been in December, it'd be exactly 10 years since that happened the last time when we scored a late goal and all the fans just came crushing down and the seats got absolutely wrecked. And it was disgusting that Motherwell then decided, and by that comes that there was also the fact that Celtic allowed them to do it, because usually if there's any damage, it was kept in-house. But Celtic allowed them to put all the seats together and put them on the pitch and say, oh, look what the Celtic fans did. They fucking used. And anyway, 150 fans got a 1-game ban and 250 fans got moved section for a game also. Anyway, that was in the past. But anyway, people that I'm talking to that go to games say that they've got that feeling again about Celtic. You know, the first time that Brendan was here, and it's just the wildness and the expectation is back. The expectation is back. Hetty says, I think we're going to smash 2 or 3-0 against Lazio. Oh, I'm not even going to predict the Lazio game. I'm not even going to try and predict the Lazio game because it's at Celtic Park. If the fans are up for it, if the fans are really up for it on Wednesday night and the fans make that much noise and make the stadium just an absolute, and I've seen it in the past couple of seasons, and especially when I was still going to games before I moved here, some of the stadium went quiet on European nights, and you're like, come on, what is going on? But hopefully that game, hopefully that result this weekend will get everyone at that stadium absolutely up for it. Absolutely up for it. And one of the funniest things that came back to my memory about 2013 when Motherwell were at when Celtic were at Motherwell on the Friday night is excuse me, my brother complaining that he got banned and he wasn't even at the game. That's the funniest thing ever. Moaning about getting banned for football when you weren't even there. Anyway, if Who Really Cares says if O'Reilly keeps playing, someone will come in with a massive offer in the summer. If O'Reilly keeps playing, O'Reilly said in his interview, he said he wanted to sign a new contract even before he signed this contract. I think he's been having that many discussions with Brendan Rodgers that he knows that Brendan Rodgers can take him on to a far bigger level. Now, somebody might want to come in for him. You look at Leeds have now withdrawn any interest in him because he signed that new long-term contract. If he's going to go to one of the top teams in England, a bit like what Kieran Tierney did when he went to Arsenal. It's going to have to be an Arsenal, a Man City, a Tottenham. Tottenham could come in for him. I don't think it'll be next summer. I think he would turn it down personally. I've just got that feeling about Matt O'Reilly. He comes across as one of those players that wants to really achieve things and achieve a legacy at Celtic and then move on. Getting into the Champions League, he wants to make sure that he's at a club that's in the Champions League. So you've got to be top 4 in England. It's going to be a top 4 club in England that is going to come in for him if that's going to be the case. Who Really Cares? So I don't think it'll be next summer. I think it might be the summer after that. I think we'll keep O'Reilly for 2 years and then he might get that massive move. I don't think it'll be this summer coming though. Hopefully. Touch wood. But then what do I know? It's just a feeling I've got. And I hope I'm right with it. Laughing at you Huns. Bill said that they shouldn't get beat by a team like Aberdeen. Bill said, did Bill really say they shouldn't get beat by a team like Aberdeen? That's total disrespectful to Scottish football. Celtic, no Celtic manager would ever come out and say that we shouldn't be getting beat by teams like that. The last person that happened to was probably Tony Mowbray when he was Celtic manager. And he deserved to go because getting beat by St Mirren was just an absolute joke. Back in the day, right? George Hiller says, Basby Palmer says, let's go. And James Boyle says, hail, Basmo on the hoops with Cumbernauld. Our away fans are the best, says Jeffrey. Jeff, you know my feelings. I went to the games for long enough when I was back home, and they are. There's a togetherness with Celtic away fans, and everyone when you go to away games, everyone knows you. Everyone there's doesn't matter what buses come in and all the different buses, the ones that go week in week out. I remember when we announced that we were moving here, one of my mates for the Kirkcaldy bus said, for anyone, he thought that anyone that would stop going to Celtic week in, week out, the last person that he would say would probably be me. And he's like, hats off to you for making that move. It's a lifetime move. Anyway, Whiskey Foxtrot says, Brendan's sides always score across positions in the team, but we still have no Kyogo backup, which is a worry. All looks very average. He does that. Ralston, 96 minutes, remember well. Yep. We need to get another striker in. We need to get another striker that can push Kyogo, because everyone a few weeks ago was comparing Kyogo to the King of Kings. He's never going to be the King of Kings. He's never going to get near the King of Kings, unfortunately. He's going to be a good Celtic striker. I'd like him just to get to the level of Lee Griffiths for Celtic. When Lee had that fantastic season and scored at every level. Kyogo needs to do it in Europe. Kyogo needs to start smashing goals in Europe before he'll be able to get to any type of level with Celtic. Will he be as good as Henrik? Nah, never. Unfortunately, I don't think so. Hit of the Hunt Scalper says 7 points clear and not even out of second gear. James Floyd said, I said we would smash the league by 20 points this season. I hope you put a bet on that. Lanky said, there's nothing wrong with winning games ugly. You need to do it, especially for 3 vital points. Exactly. O'Reilly is going to be special under Brendan. Yep. Rumours are that the Mole has left them tonight. I doubt that. I can't see him resigning. Can't see him resigning and walking away from a massive payout. Neil Lennon didn't want to walk away from Celtic until he was guaranteed his payout. So, and that was during the 10 in a row season. So there's no way will it happen with them. So-called Motherwell will sit deep. You called it Motherwell. We know this. Every team's going to sit deep. Joseph Murphy says, sorry, Baz, but Turnbull doesn't cut it. Good player, but not Celtic class. Joseph, did you watch the video the other day where Paul Lambert has been talking about him, and he says at his age, he's a better player than Paul Lambert was. Paul Lambert turned out to be a good player for Celtic. Turnbull's only 24. You know, he had last season where he never got near Ange Postecoglou's team because he didn't rate him. So we'll see. O'Reilly boy has got class. Lazio play counter-attacking football. It's slaving Motherwell Celtic yesterday. What a brilliant game. Let's jump up. Get McCarthy out in January. Don't even get me started with Jane McCarthy. It's one of the most weirdest things ever. Bring on the fascist scum. Just strangest decision in the. Yep. Player. Right, let's jump up to the comments because I'm way behind with the comments. Jump right to the front. Sorry if I've missed out a lot of your comments, but they're flying in. Lambert on the glue, says Francis. Clyde Super Scoreboard will be hilarious tomorrow night, says Tamak. Right, then what time will I do the live tomorrow night then? Because there's going to be a lot of people on YouTube that are going to want to listen to hilarity and that. What time do they finish, Tamak? What time do they finish Super Scoreboard at? So then we'll go live right after it. Real bad bit of business letting the Grumpy Greek go, says James. James, he wanted to go. It wasn't a bad bit of business. He wanted to go. So, you know, he downed tools a bit and he got grumpy about it. The fact that he couldn't get past Kyogo. Kyogo was on fire. You've got to remember. So, it wasn't a bad bit of business. He's got goal scorings and 8 o'clock. So that's 9 o'clock here. Right, that's fine. I'll go live at 8 o'clock tomorrow. 8 o'clock, so it's 9 o'clock here. Yeah, 9 till 10. That's fine. Perfect. What are we doing on Super Scoreboard? Right. We need to take over Super Scoreboard. No, we're not doing a boo again. We have to do something. We have to say something else. Boo was boo for half time. We need to come up with something better than boo. Joseph, your channel's on fire. It's not on fire. It's doing well. It could do better. Some video views do well. Some videos get more. I could have 1,000 people on these lives, but I don't. Bill must stay. Yes. Bill must stay. That's it. Bill must stay. Hughes a diddy. Hughes a diddy. Who are you? Who are you? No, it has to be 7 Up. 7 Up. Yeah, that's it. 7 Up. Something today's got it. 7 Up. 7 Up. Right. What will do, Maslow's? I'm feeling. Nah, we'll go with 7 Up. Let's go with 7 Up. And we'll see if we can take over. Because remember the last time that we did this, still the best Celtic channel, then Football Mad. Yeah, young football mad. He started his channel a good few years ago. It must have been about 2019, I think he started. 2018, and he was going to games, and just as a young lad, and watching him grow up on YouTube, and I've given him a few hints as that before. So hopefully it's your Bard, Stevie Boy's Bard. 7 Up. Nah, I should just go with 7 Up. Just go with 7 Up. But yeah, not young football mad. He does similar type of videos. That's what I used to do. Back in the day. I might do a video like that. Link up to Super Scoreboard Troops. If I need to get off Bill's back. He's doing grand. Yes, rest in peace, Frank McDougall, who was some player. He was some player back in the 1980s. Baz, you're the best because you really engage with the audience, says Big Dom. Listen, this is what YouTube's all about. YouTube, I'm not going to say it. There's too many people who want to be. YouTube isn't professional. YouTube is all about engagement, and that's the way that I see it. He'll Baz. No, we're not putting that on. We're not taking over the link to Super Scoreboard. Right, let me see. Who's got a link to Super Scoreboard? I'll need to put it up because you'll not be able to put links up. 2 minutes. SSB. Right. There we go. Right, I'm only going to put it up once, so make sure you grab the link. Right, this is the link. What about my boy Scale? How he do against Borders boys? Scales is going to do fantastic. Scales is a player. We'll talk about it in a minute, right? Feels the best. Simply hail. Right, there is the link. I'll put it up on the screen. So, not that one, you idiot. That is the link. So if you scroll through that, you'll need to go onto it and then subscribe. You need to subscribe to be able to get onto it. So there you go. I'll take that back off. Right, sign Lammers. So the players can get a laugh in training. No. Laughing at Hunt says Frank McDougall was still travelling on his local Celtic supporters bus when he was at St Mirren and Aberdeen. Get subbed tonight so you can get 7 Up tomorrow. Yep, 7 Up. Miss out the aye. 7 Up, 7 Up, 7 Ups. 7 Ups, that's the takeover for tomorrow. And let's see if we can do what we did the last time that we took over Super Scoreboard. And you got Hans going, the chat on this is just all run by bots. The chat's all run by bots, you Fenian bots. Anyway, I think my avatar was a skinhead, yes. Done it now, subbed, right. And then we'll go live at 8 o'clock. I'll schedule that just now, actually. So just give me 2 seconds. Stream tomorrow. We'll get that going. Is there any games on tomorrow night? Monday night. Create a live stream. What did we just do? You're gonna love the name of the live stream. Tomorrow, Monday the 2nd, 9 p.m. Right, that's the live stream created for tomorrow. And it's called What Did We Just Do? He couldn't get a better name for that. What we're saying, 7 Up. Yes, Jamie, we're saying 7 Up. 7 Up. There's more British soldiers. There's more British soldiers at Ibrox than anywhere else in the world. Didn't even get me started with that. Friggin' nonsense, man. Absolute nonsense. Hey, the Hunt Scalper says 2-0 on Wednesday. Rangers are getting more. Oh, you can't say that. Can't say that. Can't say that. I'm not going to drop down to their level. Fanta, 7 Up for the Orange. 7 Up. It's out the ferry. I'm a bit stuck leaving it shorter time. Oh, come on. Ferries. 7 Up. 7 Up. 7 Up. 7 Up. Season minus 10. To give them free tickets. Right, let me see what we're talking about with any Celtic news that's kicking about. Let's get some updates. So that's Celtic tip to dominate. Celtic tip to dominate the Lazio. I can't see that. Surely not. Lazio are surely not having that much of a bad time. Kenny Dalglish delivers verdict on Celtic's chances versus Lazio in the Champions League. Kenny Dalglish reckons that Celtic can turn the tide on their UEFA Champions League form on Wednesday with a win at home to Lazio. Getting beat away to Feyenoord. Lazio did draw the first game. There's a real hope that Brendan Rodgers can bring back a touch of magic against a team that are currently struggling in Serie A. Dalglish reckons that Celtic have no fear coming up against Lazio, despite their second finish place in the Italian top flight last term. Celtic didn't win the Champions League game last season. We know that. We also lost against Feyenoord. The Italian side will be good and there will be a danger. They've got a good coach. They've got a striker who can score. There's a fucking get it. I don't know. Can we really do something? They're not near the level of sort of the big teams in Europe. Your Real Madrids, your Barcelonas, your Man Cities, your Man United. Well, Man United, you'd probably fancy Man United just now. 7 Up is a sprite idea. Seriously, we've got to do something in the match against Lazio. Sick of losing in Europe, says Peg. Milk, 7 Up, chocolate. Oh, that has to be it. That's it. That's the one. We're changing it. Milk, 7 Up, chocolate. Right, that's it for tomorrow. Right, I need to be able to, that is it. Milk, 7 Up, chocolate. Monty, that's a cracker. That's Milk, 7 Up, chocolate. Oh my goodness. Right. Milk, 7 Up, chocolate. Milk, 7 Up, chocolate. Right, that's it. Milk, 7 Up, Monty. Oh my god, man. Oh, it's the funniest thing ever. Right, Monty. Milk, 7 Up, chocolate. You've just won a tin of gluten-free beer. Oh, Jesus. That's it, Monty. Milk, 7 Up, chocolate. Milk, 7 Up, chocolate. Milk, 7 Up, chocolate. My God. Oh, my. Jelly and ice cream. Milk, 7 Up, chocolate. So we're going to dominate Radio Clyde's phone-in tomorrow night. That will be live on YouTube. It's always live on YouTube and the radio. And we're going to go with Milk, 7 Up, chocolate. I need to write that down. That's hilarious. That is absolutely hilarious. Athletic Madrid was on tonight, worth a watch. Yeah, I might watch that one. They'll be kicking off at 9 o'clock, are they not? They'll be kicking off in half an hour. It's 8:30 here. Yes, like milk lemonade chocolate, but Milk 7 Up chocolate. The jelly and ice cream's back. Monty. Milk 7 Up chocolate. We've did this. Milk, 7 Up chocolate. Oh my god, practicing it now. Milk, 7 Up chocolate. Milk, 7 Up chocolate. Oh my god, that is the funniest thing ever. Right, Ken Douglas is saying that Celtic can win against Lazio. With the greatest respect to Lazio, they're not the top tier sides in the Champions League, but Celtic with 60,000 supporters, can Celtic dominate possession? Can Celtic control the tempo? Will Lazio allow them time on the ball? The Italians like to sit back and defend. The Italians are good at defending and then try to hit on the break. Will Phillips be up to it? Will Phillips be up to it? Well, that's the big question mark for me is Phillips. The big question mark for me is going to be Phillips on Wednesday evening. Oh, Baz, don't do that again, my eyes. Richard, if you're just on, you've missed an absolute cracking hour of show. Some show, honestly. So, if you remember chewing the fat, milk, lemonade, chocolate. Tomorrow night, we're all going on to Super Scoreboard and we're going milk, 7 Up chocolate. Milk, 7 Up chocolate. It won't be easy on Wednesday, but come on, Celtic, says Helen. Yeah, it won't be easy on Wednesday, but I think no one likes Rangers, not even Rangers will watch back, saying Richard. It has been some laugh, and we've been over an hour already. Right, let's talk about Lazio, because let's face it, the last couple of seasons in Europe, Celtic haven't hit the heights of what we thought we would do. Celtic have got a goal this season of at least finishing third. They need to finish third in the Champions League this season. Forget about finishing second. I said going way back to the summer, I said that Celtic need to finish third because then we can then drop down into the Europa. It's the last year that you can drop down into the Europa, and if you can drop down into the Europa, you can maybe get a good run to Dublin, and we're all off to Dublin in the green. We're all off to Dublin in the green. That's for me. And Brendan will know this. Brendan will know if he can finish third in the Champions League, and then if he can somehow just manage to get us to Dublin, he would go down in the eyes of Celtic supporters. You know, he would be up there with Martin O'Neill. He'd be completely forgiven for the way that he left the first time round, and he would be up there with the likes of Jock Stein as managers, you know, getting us to a European Cup final. We have to take something from our home games. We have to do it. Barry Robson, once on Skelper, always. Barry Robson scored a cracker against them for us, didn't he? We're going to Dublin for a pre-season game next year. I would rather go to Dublin for the Europa Cup final at the end of the season. It's written in the stars, says Jeffrey. There's sometimes in football, you know, we all thought that when the Seville game came around and it ended up being Sevco that went to Seville, and you're thinking, you know, it could have been written in the stars for Celtic to go back and right or wrong. Can Celtic finally get that monkey off their back of just doing something? Just doing something? Thank Baz got scoreboard. That's maybe just me. I'm just a dreamer. I'm a dreamer. I always wanted Celtic to do the absolute best. Milk 7 Up chocolate, Paul. Yep, that is it. I heard Beale's gone. There's a lot of people saying that. I'm going to go into Twitter because Twitter usually comes out with everything first. Beale. Beale replacement is trending. Beale replacement. WhatsApp rumours. That's just a WhatsApp rumours. Nah. Say Beale is gone. Who do we actually go for? Someone experienced, but who? The amount of money being Neil Francis Lennon incoming. Nah, I think it just seems to be a rumour that's going around on the rumours Beale's away. Nah, it's just rumours. Why are folks so sure Beale's gone? Kenny Miller buries his head. Nah, he's not gone. He's not gone. Don't give me hope. Beale has ruined a good group of players. Time to replace him with a manager who can beat. Nah, it's just rumours. It's just rumours. Twitter's mad for rumours. Right, Barry Ferguson. Oh my god, that would be hilarious if they got in Barry Ferguson. Sevco's statement is on the leaky is their defence. Yeah, that's true. Absolutely, Stevie Boy. 2012 to 2023, the Huns have been in guest after flying Nazi symbol against Aberdeen. They'll never get invested for that. I seen the flag that they were on about, and this is how stupid they are. They're all going to be wearing their pop in the next couple of weeks, but they've got a banner out with a Nazi symbol on it. Anyway, who cares? It's been cliche. That'll be nice. They'll try and get McInnes yet. Him or Beale, I'm happy. Yeah, it's wishful thinking for the Rangers fans. Just total wishful thinking from the Sev Clonians, if you ask me. Right, tomorrow night we are going to go live at 8 p.m. Celtic Park's time, right after we've had a complete and utter meltdown on Super Scoreboard. It's not something that I'll tune into and listen a lot, purely for a fact I think it's a nonsense channel. And let me just see how things are doing. We're at 13,606 subscribers. So thank you to everyone who's newly subscribed over the last day that took us over that. And we have on your slow, it's 1,400. That's all right. That's fine. Just check that. Let's just check out some of your comments. Beale's gone. Stuart McCall. Dirty Den. Dirty Den. McInnes sounds about right, but here's hoping it's him or Barry Ferguson. They'll go for the Nazi banner waves at Scumbox is a World War II SS division. Yes, it is. It's and they were nasty buggers. The fact that in this day and age you've got folk in Scotland that still believe in that shit is unbelievable. Unbelievable. But then again, that's in a country where they said no to Hitler. Franco said, "Nah, you're all right, mate. I'm going to sit this one out." So there we go. But whether he was sitting out completely, you never know. Who cares? All in the past. This country. On a final note, people. I can remember last year, people were going on about Madrid and how they were right wing and everything. Spain over the last 10 years are the only country in Europe to maintain a left wing government. Spain had elections about a month ago, and everyone thought that they were going to turn to the right wing government. They didn't. They maintained the left wing government so far. There's the Tory and the right wing are trying to nullify the vote, but as it stands, Spain is still a left wing country. They've been there and done it with right wing, and they don't want to go back to it, basically. But that's good. That's why I'm here. 2 taxis saw leaving Ibrox, one for Beale and one for his mole. That's a bad one. That's a bad one. Right, we are at 20 to 9. Thank you to everyone who Lorna, where have you been? Hey, Baz, Mr. Live. I've been relaxing in the hot tub. Hope you're all well. Listen, you could sit in the hot tub and have your phone on or have your iPad at the side. That's no reason whatsoever. Freedom for Scotland. Yep. That's why I'm on Tenerife, Richard. Yeah, exactly. Freedom for Scotland. And one of the interesting things as well, because the Catalonians, when they tried to go they went for their independence vote and it was deemed illegal, a lot of the leaders of the independence side went away and stayed in Belgium. So they couldn't get touched with the Spanish government. Because the left-wing government has now retained power again, part of the deal to keep the left-wing government in power is they're allowing these separatists nationalists to come back to Spain. So it's going to be interesting times here in Spain. It's going to be really interesting. Freedom is the hardest thing to get, says Kieran. Yep, hail, hail. Neil Warnock for the Huns. Who cares? Cheers, Baz, for smashing seven a day. Yep, Joseph. Remember, tomorrow it's milk 7-Up chocolate. And on that note, have a fantastic evening, Celtic fans that are all around the world.